In the first reading that we just heard from the book of Isaiah, Isaiah is speaking to the Israelites who have just been returning from exile for all those years and from wandering in the desert. And when they returned home, they wanted to rebuild their city and rebuild their nation. But they had difficulty doing that. They were so discouraged at the thought of that project that they became very self-centered, very turned in. And Isaiah is admonishing them and saying, you know, you're too self-centered. You're too much focused on yourselves. You have to get out. You have to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, comfort the afflicted and the oppressed. And then God will bless you. Your wounds will be healed by helping others, by healing other people's wounds. And then the light will shine upon you in the darkness. God's light and God's grace will bless you. You will be great again. You will be a great nation if you take the focus off yourself and look at the needs of others. And Jesus is saying something very similar in the gospel today. First of all, he says, you are the salt of the earth. You know, and salt gives flavor, seasoning. It also preserves. Evidently, it's also a healing element. And then he also says you are a light. You're the light of the world. And you should let your light shine. You know, and a light is not supposed to draw attention to itself. When you light a candle, well, maybe a candle, but if you light an electric light, you don't just stare at it. You look at everything around. It lights up everything around us. And the same thing that Jesus is talking about us being a light. We shouldn't draw attention to ourselves, but rather we should draw attention to others and ultimately to God. Jesus says, let your light shine so that others can see your goodness and give praise to God. It's all about God. I kind of learned this dramatically a few months ago when the president of Bellarmine Prep, Rob Motorelli, said that the school wanted to give me the St. Robert Bellarmine Award. Well, when he told me that, everything in me said, oh, please don't do that to me. It was false humility is what it was. But then I prayed about it for the next couple days. And God was very stern with me, very direct. And he said, John, this is not about you. It's about me, and it's about what I've been able to accomplish through you. And I think that's what Jesus is getting at. Let other people see your goodness. Let it shine. And then they will give praise to God. I know that whenever I hear something really well done, whether it be a singer or an actor or one of the arts especially, I'm so grateful to God that God gave that person that gift and that they were willing to develop it and use it. You know, there's always going to be somebody who can do it better than you. So that's no excuse. There's always going to be somebody who can do it better than you, but that's not the point. It's your light that you're being called to shine. We're living in kind of a dark time right now, aren't we? A lot of turmoil going on in our country. You know, Jesus didn't say, you will be the salt if you do these things, or you will be the light. He says, you are salt. You are light already. And so as a country, we don't have to become great. we already are. We're just not living up to our reputation. You know, and believe it or not, I think we have a very incredible reputation. Other countries look up to us. And yet, unfortunately, I think we disappoint them sometimes. It's almost like we're living on a borrowed reputation. I think that about the Jesuits. You know, we have an incredible history. We're not living up to that reputation. Boy, not when I look around at our community, especially myself. And I think in our country, we tend to live on a borrowed reputation. We've always been a welcoming country. Matter of fact, I would imagine that many of your relatives, your ancestors, came over here from other countries and were welcomed. I mean, the United States is really a combination of all countries. I know my own grandmother and my grandfather came over, and their families. My grandfather from Ireland, my grandmother from Germany, and my father's mother and father came over from Switzerland and their family, and they settled here. You know, Isaiah says, don't turn your back on your own. Don't turn your back on your own. Everyone is God's family. You know, every school, every parish has a mission statement. Well, I think our country has a mission statement. And it's an inscription on the Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island, where so many of our ancestors came and were welcomed. This huge statue, I looked it up, and it's about 300 feet high and weighs, I think, 250,000 pounds, something like that. It's an incredible welcoming as people come into the New York harbor. I just want to read it and for us to recognize that that's who we are. That's who we are. Our mission statement describes who we are and what we're called to be and live up to. And this is what it says. And it's part of a larger poem. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I lift my light beside the golden door. You know, periodically we sing this beautiful song, America the Beautiful. I always tell Bob, please don't play that because it touches me so deeply. Although he has permission to play it if he wants today. But what touches me is the refrain. America, America, God shed his light, his grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. God shed his grace on thee.